Transmission. It is February 25th, 2025, 2200 hours. Is anybody out there? This is the Blue Iron Lion broadcasting from somewhere. I'm driving down a long, windy road at night, heading in, and I decided I wanted to rap to anyone out there. About what? Well, not about anything specific, and not everything needs to be a lesson or be of an esoteric nature. I don't even know where I'm really going with this channel. I started it, and it got more of a response than I expected, at least in the beginning, which is good. It means you're all out there listening. Small channel here. It's been a while since I've put something out, and as I'm out here navigating the terrain of life, the frequency of these transmissions will be affected. So yeah, I'm just out here driving, and I like to drive. You give me the chance, I'll drive cross country. I've driven to Canada. I've driven to Florida, although the Florida drive pushed me to my limit. 18 hours straight. The first 10 hours, no sweat. The next 8 hours, I was even asking myself, are we there yet? Round trip, as I eventually drove my way back too. Anyway, that's just how much I don't like planes. I mean, of course, if it's somewhere I need to take a plane to get to, then I'll catch a flight. But yeah, if I can drive there, I'll drive. In fact, I've always wanted to head out on a road trip to California, a cross-country traveling thing. I've been saying this since the 90s, since 1999, all right? Back when I thought, let me do that before the world ends in the year 2000. Yeah, but I'm just out here driving. At one point I entertained the idea of being a truck driver. I thought it would be the ultimate working conditioned freedom. I say this in comparison to when I did work in an office at one point, back in the office space era. But being cooped up in an office all day, that got old. So I did get a form of CDL, but not the Class A that would allow for trucks. I got the entry-level CDL, the one that allowed me to drive around the elderly and the disabled on the paratransit buses. Nowadays, I hear horror stories about truck drivers driving through the wrong part of town at night, though, passing through sundown towns and whatnot, things that sounded as if they were just folklore. It's amazing. All the information one can uncover in the information era. All the things I thought I knew or didn't know are revealed, debunked, or confirmed on the World Wide Web. Speaking of the internet, I'd always say whatever you see, you've got to take it with a grain of salt. Take the common denominators and examine them for yourself. Even from me, when I talk about the esoterics, based on what I've gathered, coupled with my own experience, I say what is and should pan out. But then someone else out there might come out with a whole different truth as it pertains to them. Well, for example, it's a fact 2 + 2 = 4. But online, you'll have somebody trying to sell you something about 2 + 2 = 4. Or promising a better way or a secret way. All the ways to sell water to a whale. Right? So you'll have the people that lead with truth and then follow up by offering some augmented version of that truth. For just $29.99, you too can have the same magic beans that Jack used to grow his beanstalk type stuff. Or how about a personal favorite as it pertains to me, the trading guru? Those guys out there selling a course, charging exuberant amounts of fees while renting a Lamborghini to show a lifestyle they don't even own. I mean, of course, there are legitimate traders out there teaching or selling a course, but they know what I know, that with only 2% of the U.S. population being active traders and only 5% of that being consistently profitable over the long term, we're talking about a 0.1% of the U.S. population. Aside from the institutions that can make money off of this thing. Yeah, beyond skill, it's a psychological, borderline esoteric knowing that goes into that. So it would be like me knowing all this, but selling Joe Blow a $5,000 ticket to my course, knowing that likely he's not going to succeed. Now, I've never tried a course. I'm too stubborn, and I've learned more organically. But if trading was a bull, then I've been that bull rider that got tossed into the air and then double back kicked by that bull into the barrier many a times. It's only that every time I get up, it's with a better understanding, and I stay on longer. I say I'm coming to the point where I can stay on indefinitely now. I can do 1,000 now. Reference American Psycho. Whatever. Anyway. But yeah. Back to the financial gurus. I admit I strongly dislike the ingenuine ones the most. It's because they sell hopes and dreams, messing with people's emotions, right? Exploiting their desperation. As if dealing with life wasn't enough. You've got these jerk-offs out here selling a secret formula or a magic diet pill or the next big scheme, right? Only thinking of themselves. A newer side of me lately has even entertained a bit of compassion for them. Like maybe they too are just desperate and they said, screw it. I've been through the ringer. I've got to get it however I can get it. I guess I get it. We're all out here. You never know someone's story. I know if I ever sell anything online, it'd be a book I wrote. Yeah, we're all out here in the system, to which there are ways you can go through this system and have a very lucrative or respectful setup, especially as you're young. You can find your skill, just like in the video I shared before. Yeah, I've had a noble profession, right? But the thing that I've wanted, a lot of people would say it's unrealistic for me to go out and make my mark, be an entrepreneur, start something. Just the idea of it is, oh, you're crazy. It's unrealistic. It's impossible. This game is rigged only for the higher-ups. Perhaps. But the alternative, living check to check, fighting engineered inflation, and it is engineered. I don't care what anybody says. Therefore, I have to try something unorthodox. They say insanity is repeating the same thing and expecting different results. Well, 17 years of doing the same thing has led to the same results. I'd say that fits. Like, I'm a very financially restrictive person. Anyone who sees how simply I've dressed knows this. But enforcing this mindset on any around me may not sit too well. And so the catch-22 is struggling week to week for the next 17 years. No. This place is one big setup. I've listened to other transmissions from a few arrogant rich pricks who declare, oh, it's not a setup, you're just lazy, or stop crying, victim. And I agree, don't cry. And you don't want to have a victim mentality, I get that. Right? No, nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's coming. But to imply that everything is fine just because they've got it, now that's distasteful. Hear me. This place, this particular realm will never allow but a tighter constriction of the haves from the have-not. And that's not a complaint. It just is. And coming from an esoteric standpoint. So you have to throw one in there. From things seen to unseen. Look at history. It's just that there is always a possibility to climb and feel closer to it. And a few will be able to climb higher with a certain type of mind. In fact, I live long enough, I should get mine. Right? But even then, I will never imply that the system isn't rigged against everybody else. The only thing I agree with is do or do not. Right? Because what other choice do you have? If you find yourself having to get up to do something you don't want to do, then you are a slave. Plain and simple. I don't care what I been indoctrinated to believe. Everyone else does it. Okay, so the rest of us is in a type of modern economic. Well, perhaps that word is too harsh. We are in a constant state of fear of inflation, fear of taxes. I read somewhere that most Americans are 1 or 2 paychecks away from homelessness. I said, yeah, it's a fear-based system. This is not complaining, you see. This is just talking. I'm just talking randomly. But yeah, so of course you're going to have people, hungry ghosts out there doing all sorts of God knows what just to get ahead. It was designed that way. But I have a sort of a love-hate relationship with that, right? Like, I take it as a challenge, I guess. Until the end. Listen, you have a dream, you go for it. You might fall, it might take longer to come to fruition than everyone expects. And patience runs out, time runs out, all right? But as long as you can see it, as long as it makes sense to continue, go for what you know. This place will eat you alive if you don't have your stuff together. You're a fool until you make it. Then you're a genius. But I think I've rambled on enough. Have a dream, have a goal, plant the seed, water the garden. All right? I'm just talking for anybody out there who care to listen. End transmission.